Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to teach you how to do this Coleus plant. We're going to use our oil pastels and our brown watercolor, and we're going to use a plastic knife to scratch off. So we're going to get these subtle tones. It's going to be beautiful. So let's get started. First I'm going to teach you how to draw them. These Coleuses are in the backyard, and I have taken a picture from different angles of them. So I wanted to think about all the different kinds that I have and how I wanted to pull this off. And so I'm going to use the combination of the green one and the red and maroon one on this. And we're going to use a little bit of what we've learned about composition and abstraction to get this just the way we want it. So first off, I like to have something kind of make your eye follow. So if you notice, it's kind of heavy here at the bottom, which is good. It weights it down. And then your eye kind of moves up on those little stems that Coleuses get, where they have those little flowers. And they're pastel bluish, purplish, and it's like, why? That doesn't even match those leaves, but nature says it does. So we're going to have this kind of direction going when we draw it, and we're going to start with this one right here. Today's paper is an 8x10 size, and it is taped to another piece of paper. And so here we're gonna start coming about, we should find our middles. So that's our compass, so you'll know where I am. So if we find the middle to every side, then you can use how close I am to these middle marks as an indicator of how close you should be to your middle marks. All right. So I'm just to the left of my middle mark here, and I'm going to run a line kind of down and to the right, just below center. And then I get to put in this little squatty leaf. So that's the center of the leaf. It reaches out, and then it has these nice little scallop bumps on the end. All right, once you do that, you get the first thing on your paper. Phew, the hard part's over. Always the first mark is the hardest. All right, so after that, we're gonna run this back up. And that is actually not the stem, that's gonna be the flower part sticking up. So we've got that, and then the flowers kind of come off of that. Kind of reminds me of the giant drop at Six Flags, the way they're kind of like arrayed on there, or like a grass skirt. So they're just kind of around the stem in all different directions. So if you do that, you kind of get that appearance. And that seems good for now. All right, so then our next leaf, we're going to come out from this one. So this is our anchoring leaf, and it's going to reach up, and then it's going to bump all the way down till you get almost to this tape, and then you're going to bump up right back. So you know they kind of have this V shape to the point part of the leaves, and they're smooth in the middle, bumpy on the outside. And then we can get this center line that people like to draw for leaves anyway. Okay, then we're going to have another one. We'll draw the center of this one because the shoulders on this leaf are hiding underneath of there, so you don't really see that. And then we'll do this. And by the way, the leaves are bigger the farther down on the plant they are, and they get smaller the higher up on the plant they go. All right, we got the biggest leaf. And over here is the leaf that looks like a taco. So it's folded. So this line right here is like that line, but it's folded up. And so here's this one for the one side of the taco. And then here's this one for the other side of the taco. And then like in there would be like the taco goodies. I don't know, whatever you like in your taco. Cheese, I don't know. All right, so we've got like the bottom part now, and now we can put the top part on. So we're gonna have a little stem kind of coming from this. You can't really see, it comes from lower. So I'm gonna do almost like an upside down volcano kind of thing to show that, to portray that. So that is the background, and that is the stem. And so that middle line is going to kind of venture up. All right. One thing I forgot to say about this one, This leaf is like this because of foreshortening, so it's like in space that way instead of like where you can see the whole thing. So that's why the distance from here to here is shorter. It's called foreshortening because really it's coming out at you about the same length as this one. It's just oriented in a different place. All right, so now we get to do the wiggles. Wiggle, 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 wiggle up to the end of that point and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle back to there. Whoops, I didn't mean to draw on that. Oh well, I'll just erase that now. All right. Okay, now we're ready for another taco leaf over here. So I'm just gonna lay him in on this side. And I'm gonna do that shoulder and venture that way, middle. You know what, this one doesn't quite taco. We can see kind of the middle of it. There's more a foldy part on the end. That's what's happening that's different. So see, there's the middle of the leaf, there's the edge of the leaf, but this one is kind of curling up a little bit. All right, so now we have a third plant that's going to kind of be happening in this corner, and he's the darker one, so we're going to run a little stem this way and have this leaf really, it's smaller and it's curled up tighter. So you got that, you're seeing it from the side. And then we've got this one. And if you have more room than me, you can have a bigger leaf than that over there. I don't mind that it's kind of small because I like different sizes. And then I'll put my little giant drop things on there. Okay, all right, now we'll do the one that goes this way. So this one has a stem kind of coming down to the right of my center. And I'm gonna have my leaf going a bit sideways. So I'm gonna put his little shoulders on, kind of looks like a bird on a string. And we want to go that way. So I'm gonna go like this to help it go that way. And there we go. You can tell I've spent a lot of time looking at lots of different Coleus leaves because I have deviated from my original plan slightly already. Okay, so that one is there. And then I'm gonna have one going this way. So that'll be the center. And then that part and that part. So he's that way, he's that way. That creates a lot of interest. And then I can do the other side of this branch kind of coming down like that and getting lost kind of in there. And I've got another leaf coming from the other side. So he's gonna be like, I'll have him back here. So I'm gonna have him filling in this way and he'll be big like this. All right, so that's where he is on there. I've got a little X-ray vision to go away right there. Oh, and well, there's no flowers on that one yet. The flowers happen higher up on that one, so that's what that's about. Okay, so we don't have our flowers yet. They look like this. They kind of have a little point on the bottom, a little curve, and then they've got those little things that stick out of them. So something like that. So anywhere you want on these things, you just kind of put, they look like tacos too. I'm gonna put some little tacos. So I think it looks better not to have it too crowded right there. So I put it kind of in these open spaces because every one of these have had a flower at one point or another. They just don't all seem to be blooming at the same time, is what I have noticed. Okay, we've got the whole thing drawn, and now we're going to use a brown Sharpie marker to trace the whole thing. So take a look at it first, make sure that you like everything, that it's got overlapping in the right direction, and if you have any X-ray vision, you can erase it, or if you think you know for sure, you'll erase it. So like, for instance, I haven't erased all those little parts yet where I want the flowers to be in front. I can just not trace that part and erase it after. You know yourself. If you can trace it and erase it later, that's fine. So I don't want to put extra work on you. All right, so let's get started tracing all the lines with a brown Sharpie marker. By the way, do a thick line. Don't try to have a skinny little sketchy line. It says fine point, but it's not. So go ahead and get a bold line everywhere. Now that it's all traced, we will erase any pencil lines anywhere, even if they're kind of under the Sharpie marker, so that that won't show up somewhere in our art later. So just kind of erase everything, and you can see even on my little flower stems, I made some new flowers that were a little bit different size. So I want to erase those old ones off really well. Okay, the first color we're going to use is this light green oil pastel. And if you notice on the leaves that the light green is out where the scalloped edges are. And then even, this might be a little difficult to see, but even on the red leaves, there's a tiny bit of green showing on the very tip. So more so on these big ones, we're going to color close to these scallops, and I'm using a good amount of pressure. And we're going to add some yellow to them in a minute too. Everywhere we go, we want 2 layers of color. So not 2 layers of the same color. That way when we scratch, we have more to come off of the surface. So, but not in the background. I'll tell you later. So this is the first layer of green. That's the important thing that you need to know. Okay, we have all the light green, and it's pretty consistently everywhere the bumps are. And up here, it's a tiny bit on those leaves. And then we put them on all the stems and all the giant drop areas, but not where the flowers are going to be. Okay, so while we have the green, that was pretty easy. Now you got that. So the easiest thing to do next is the second layer on the green is going to be yellow, because this green, as bright as it is not as bright as we want it to be. Plus we want that second layer of color on there that makes it super bright. So yellow goes everywhere that you had light green. And see, I'm using some good pressure. You can kind of see the difference in the video. I wasn't sure if you'd be able to. Yep. So everywhere you got light green, put some yellow on really hard. The only other place that you're going to put yellow that's not where green is on the big leaves. We need a yellow line right down the middle, just right kind of on that brown stripe. Okay, so we have the yellow on all the green parts, and we got yellow and some stripes on the bottom half. And now we're going to use purple on all those little taco flowers. I have all my purple flowers, and now light blue on top of the purple flowers. You want to press pretty hard. So the light blue is mostly what you see now. Oh, I used light purple before. If you use dark purple, it's not a problem because the light blue will be on top of it, making it brighter. But on the supply list, it'll probably say light purple. Okay. By the way, if you watch this whole video first before you draw it, then you'll get all these moments when I'm like, So anyway, if you didn't, it's going to be fine. But I wanted to let you know, you can have as many of those flowers as you want. So just because I have this many does not mean that that is the perfect amount. So you can have as many as you want, and you can just attach them onto those, or as few as you want. All right, next is pink. The pink is going to happen close to the inside of the flower. So I'm going to leave a gap between the pink and the green for red later, but the pink is like those center vein areas. And it's going to happen on the big ones and the little ones. All right, here I go. And I'm using a good amount of pressure. And it's okay that I'm getting on the yellow, because that's kind of a cool color. It makes a light orange. All right, those are all the places for pink. So you can see on the bottom leaves, the pink is huge. And the little guys up here at the top, very little bit of pink. So the dominant color up here is more the reddish brown, and the dominant color down here is the pink and green. All right, next is red. Now, here's the thing. I've been having you do 2 layers. So on top of green, we did yellow. On top of purple, we did blue. But this time we are not ready to go on top of that pink color. So we'll hang on till later for that. So red is next, and it's going to go in these empty spaces in between. But it's okay if it overlaps a tiny bit on the pink, because it's better to go over it a little bit than to have any white spaces down there. So see how it kind of bridges that gap right there. So we're going to do that on all of our leaves. Okay, all of our leaves should have color on them somewhere. So everything that we drew has stuff on it. So this is a time when you can look and go, did I get everything? And see right here, I missed that stem right there. So we're gonna put green and yellow on there. All right, so when we're drawing something, things can kind of hide from us. So before we move to like the dark color on the leaves, so that we can give ourselves some more time to find those sneaky hidey things, we're gonna work on the background or the negative space. Now we want very little color on the background, but we don't want it to be boring. Remember, boring is my enemy. So I've chosen the gray-green color that we have, and instead of pressing with firm pressure, we're gonna be super gentle, and I'm even gonna kind of hold it like this so I can use the side of it. And so everywhere that looks like negative space, I'm gonna use on the side, and I'm gonna let those white places show because we're gonna put some brown paint on there, and that's gonna go in there and be beautiful. So we wanna keep doing that. And before you color something, ask yourself, is that negative space? Yes, it is, then you do it. So this gives us one more chance to find everything. All right, let's do it. All right, so that's what it looks like with the background on. Notice there are white spaces. I didn't color with all my might. That is important. Gotta have that like loose, gentle. And this is where we started, looking at these. And this is where we're headed, going to that. And right now it looks pretty bright. So here's the next step. The last oil pastel color that we'll be using is Van Dyke Brown. And before, remember I said, we color everything twice, and we haven't colored the red and pink twice yet. So the Van Dyke Brown goes with pretty good pressure on top of the red and pink. Now this step probably looks scary, like you're messing it up, but trust me, it's gonna work out really good. This will be great. So everywhere it is pink or red, color over with brown. See there? It actually looks pretty good with that brown all over it. I did encroach on the green a bit too, because I don't want like a white space between the red and the green. So when I did the brown, I encroached a bit on the light green. I didn't go all the way on the light green. So now we're ready to take our liquid brown watercolor and a sponge and rub it on the whole thing. Here goes. All right, so we're gonna take our brown liquid watercolor and squirt about a silver dollar amount in the middle and take a sponge. You notice I'm wearing a glove. That's because this stains like food coloring, and so I don't want to have a brown hand all day. So it's washable, but it still has that food coloring stain abilities. And rub that everywhere on the whole thing, and then spend extra time kind of rubbing where there was that background color. So it doesn't hurt to do repetition. You don't want to be a vigorous scrubber, so not with all your might, no elbow grease, you're not cleaning the floor, you're not trying to clean this stuff off the page. The repetition helps get it in the paper more. So I rotated my sponge. There we go. And then you're going to take a soft tissue or paper towel and just dry that off. So rub over it to dry it off. That looks great. So see how that gray-green has the brown in those spaces? That's what we want. It kind of echoes the light blue on the flowers. Oh, this is going to be good. Our last art tool for today is a plastic knife. So you know, when you get all that plastic cutlery and you use the forks first and then you have spoons and then you're like, how do I have all these knives? Well, guess what? Now's the time to use these plastic knives. So you want one that has some pretty good teeth on there. So I don't even know if they make them without teeth, but any with teeth are going to be great. And you don't have to worry about the direction that you're going. So you just kind of switch it up. And you don't have to worry about where you are. So you're going to go on your whole page in all different directions. So here goes. Do some X's. And when your teeth get full of oil pastel, use your paper towel to kind of take some of that off. You're just going to keep going like that. Crisscross applesauce on the whole thing. And taking off with the paper towel. It's really important to vary your direction, because if you do it all in the same direction, it's going to look too organized. So we want to be a bit more random. Even the flowers. It's really cool. It's very bright how it shows up. So let's keep doing that. Okay, and that's how it looks after it's all scratched. Super interesting. And it is good that we have those patches of brown because it has that muted kind of batik-y look to it, and that's what we're going for. So very cool. All we have left to do is take off our tape. So remember to pull low and at a right angle out from your image, because if you pull it up or at a acute angle or even an obtuse angle, it really causes it to tear. I went so fast that I did an acute angle on my sample and I tore it in the corner. But I wasn't too bothered because it kind of gave it a feathery look. So I'll show you that in a minute. But low and at a right angle, and then you won't have to worry. All right, here's our finished product. Be sure to sign it at the bottom and take responsibility for what you've done today. And I hope that I will see you in one of our Zoom meetups where we can talk about these. And feel free to go back and watch any of the other videos that we've done once a month this whole summer since COVID hit. And you're welcome to bring any finished products from those videos to our meetups to ask questions too and show them off. I'm really looking forward to seeing how yours turn out. And it was very fun doing this with you today, and I hope to see you soon. Coleuses. Bye.